Farmers are our lifeblood and our future. The latest from the PDC, hints, allegations, and things left unsaid. We take on the latest attempt to smear the Republicans' leading candidate, all tonight on Loren Live VMG. I am your host, Christopher Gergen, and with me, as always, is the insubordinate one, Mr. Loren Culp. Loren, how are you this evening?
Doing great, Chris. Thank you, everyone, for being on here. I want to remind everybody, if you're watching this live or watching it recorded, if you want to get connected with a coordinator in your area, get a yard sign, type a comment anywhere in this thread, hashtag yard sign, and our virtual assistant, Lucy, will get you in touch with that person right away. Please click share and like this page. And thank you all for joining us.
So before we get started, so I don't forget, Lisa made me promise not to forget this again, and because I'm terrible about this, I always forget things. So we are killing it, Loren, on social media. Our community has just exploded over the last couple of weeks. We now are at about 36,800 overall likes on the page. 45,845 followers in the community altogether. Wow. So you've got to be happy with that. It's really unbelievable.
It's exploding. Yeah. And I mean, we're seeing that at the rallies and meet and greets that we go to. The people are coming out by the hundreds. I don't know exact count, but somewhere around 600-700 people at our rallies. It's absolutely crazy. And it's because people are sick of Inslee. They're sick of career politicians. They want someone in there that has stood up for them, when they had nothing to gain. So my message is getting out there, and it's all because of our volunteers, all because of all of you that are watching this and sharing this. So I just want to thank you all very much.
And also the corn dogs. The corn dogs are delicious. We have food at all of our rallies, and the corn dog.
I noticed that, Chris. Yeah, we do. We have food vendors there. Yes. But here's the thing. I stay until everybody's done talking with me, and then everybody's gone, and I look around, and the food vendors are closed. So I have yet to get one of those corn dogs, and I'm gonna make it a point because they look good. I see people eating them.
Oh, they're delicious. Oh, they're ridiculous. Yeah, they're ridiculous. But I want you to know that I'm looking out for you, Loren, and I have no problem going over and getting in line for the corn dogs. So
right, and eating one for me. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely. I'm rooting for you.
It helps my girlish figure not having it.
That's exactly right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have some swag giveaway winners tonight, as always. So. We've missed last week because I screwed that up. So my apologies to everyone out there. So tonight's swag giveaway winners are Amanda, and I can't say your last name, so I'm going to spell it. It's HARTRANFT. Hart. I don't even want to try. Amanda, we love you. Thank you very much. You are a swag giveaway winner. And then Jacob Arnold. I can say that one, not completely illiterate. Jacob Arnold, you are our other swag giveaway winner. So congratulations to you guys. Keep an eye out for a Facebook message request for your address from one of our volunteers, and they're going to go ahead and get your swag bundle sent out to you right away. Now, in order to be entered in our swag giveaway, you must be subscribed to Loren's virtual assistant, Lucy. Lucy's amazing. She takes a lot of work off of our shoulders. And you also have to be a top fan of the Culp for Governor Facebook page. So top fans are those that interact frequently on our Facebook page. So be sure to get involved in our community, talk with other like-minded patriots, other people that love God, country, family. They love their state, and they're ready for change. So to all of you out there, thank you all very much.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
So, Loren, farmers. Farmers are our lifeblood, and they are our future. And I think that came really more into the limelight than really in the minds of people when all of a sudden during this COVID thing, farms were being shut down and produce wasn't getting to market, and they were having to slaughter cows. and they were having to, waste meat, waste good beef, waste good chicken. And no, I think that no time in my memory have I ever gone to the grocery store like I have in the last few months and literally see no chicken, very little beef, none of the normal things. Prices were just ridiculous. What say you about farmers?
I love farmers. Obviously, I love food, right? I grew up on a farm. We had every animal that is normally on a farm, chickens, pigs, rabbits, turkeys. We even had a
donkey.
burro.
Yeah.
Monkey. No, not a monkey.
No, I said a donkey, not a monkey.
No, not a donkey. Not a donkey either. He was a burro. His name was
Whatever.
Don Pancho. I remember as a little
Don
kid, he
Pancho.
loved to eat cigarettes. I don't know how I know that, but he did.
That's fantastic.
But we rode horses and had cows, all of that stuff. I love our farmers, right? They feed us.
Yeah.
They feed America. They feed Washington State. And, the Farm Bureau was in touch with Jay Inslee, talking about protecting our agriculture, our food sources, right here. Washington State feeds the world, right? But they ignored him. They ignored him completely. And then he went on TV. I don't know if it was a press conference or what, but he was talking about that he just ate a very delicious grapefruit. And, someone's hands were on this. Someone picked this. And we need to protect our farm workers. Last time I checked, grapefruits are not even grown in Washington State. There's over 300 agricultural products in this state, and grapefruit are not even one of them. So that just shows you how disconnected Jay Inslee is
no idea.
from the real world. No, he doesn't. I mean, we've talked about this on every show. He's totally disconnected from everything. He didn't even know that there was riots going on downtown Seattle and people taking it over. Absolutely
no idea.
Clueless. No, but he's strictly enforcing our agricultural farmers and threatening them with fines of up to $10,000 if they don't follow his edicts, right? So to show you how much Jay Inslee cares about the farmers, he sat on personal protective equipment for about 7 weeks, didn't get it out, didn't have a plan for getting it out to the farmers and the workers to protect them from COVID. Nothing. And farmers got together themselves. The Farm Bureau contacted farmers, agriculture producers, and they got that PPE out. They were told not to take it to Eastern Washington. It was only for Western Washington. They ignored him and they got it out to Eastern Washington. And they protected thousands, 60, 70,000 workers with this PPE that Jay Inslee had no clue how to get it out of the warehouses that the state had it for over 7 weeks. They got it out in a very quick, short amount of time to protect the farm workers. So Jay Inslee's killing our farms. He's killing our farmers. He's highly regulating them and doesn't care enough to figure out a way to get the personal protective equipment out to the farm workers. And I've said it a million times that he cares about everyone's health, right? So much that he issued a stay home and go broke order and also signed into law back in February, a bill that lowers the penalty for intentionally infecting someone with HIV. He lowered that from a felony, which it should be, to a misdemeanor. And this is a guy that supposedly cares about our health, doesn't even know that grapefruits aren't grown in Washington, can't get PPE out to the farmers and the workers for over 7 weeks. And then the farmers find out about it and get their hands on it, and they get it out there very, very quickly all over the state. So over 65,000 farm workers were protected. While James was just sitting on it, the farmers took it upon themselves and got it out there. We have got to protect our farmers and our farm workers. And we have to support our agricultural community. And as governor, I will. I know what goes on in a farm. I know how to raise food. I know that our farm workers need protected. Our farmers need protected. They don't need a big bloated government regulating them to death with the threat of penalties up to $10,000 if they don't follow his stay home, grow broke order. This is the guy that is going to fine them thousands of dollars, up to $10,000, but can't even get personal protective equipment that the state has had in a warehouse for a month and a half out to the people who actually need it. When it comes down to execution, this guy has no freaking clue. Absolutely none. It really makes me angry.
And there's really been a war on farmers as well. I think it was this last legislative session, or maybe the session before, I don't remember. But farmers were basically painted in the legislature as slave owners, and were really, really run through the mill. And just a lot of very negative legislation, a lot of very hostile legislation against our farmers. And I think that part of that, you actually touched on it, is that he didn't want to send any of this PPE to the east side because he doesn't care about anybody that isn't on the I-5 corridor in his voter base. And I mean, last time I checked, when you're the governor of the entire state. I mean,
Exactly.
are you planning on being the governor for the entire state, or just, on the east side, where, because you are from the east side, are you just going to represent the east side, or are you going to represent both sides?
Well, I'm representing the entire state of Washington. I don't divide it in east and west, but just so everyone knows, I ran my business in the Olympia area for over 20 years after I got out of the military. I worked for other people for a few years after I got out of the Army, and learned the trades and started my own construction company, ran it for over 20 years out of Olympia, did jobs all over Puget Sound, lived there. My kids went to school there. And it wasn't until I was 49 years old, 10 years ago, that I realized my childhood dream became a police officer. So I've got a pretty well-rounded background, and I don't plan on, I've lived on both sides of this state. I don't plan on governing one side different than the other. And that's a thing that we should talk about as well. Jay Inslee thinks that he is governor of our lives, right? Tell us what to do every day, anytime he feels like it, change the rules, tell us what we're going to do with our businesses. My point of view is that the governor is the executive of the Washington state government. His job is to manage the state government, not manage our everyday lives, not tell us what to do with our businesses, not tell us to stay home and go broke. Article 1, Section 1 of the Washington State Constitution says that the power is inherent in the people and that government is there to protect our rights. That's the first thing our founders wrote when they decided that they're going to make the state of Washington, and let's get together and write up the Constitution for this state. What's the first thing? What's the most important thing we should write? And that was it. Government is there to protect citizens' rights, and the power is inherent in the people. And then they went on and wrote Article 1, Section 7, which says that no citizen shall be disturbed in their private affairs. And if anybody believes that Jay Inslee is not violating those two constitutional rights that we have, then they're from a different planet. They're not paying attention to what's going on. And I will be a governor that adheres by the rule of law, which is the Constitution, and keep government in that lane within the confines of that.
With the farming issue, there's so many different things that go into it. You've got workers' rights, you've got safety, you've got water rights, you've got all these types of things. And I know that these are all issues that you're focused on, things that you've talked about with farmers as we've been on the trail. I've been, with you when these conversations have been had with farmers, and we're going to be talking a lot more about that as we move forward in this campaign.
Yeah, one of the big issues that comes up all the time, and this is not just on the east side of the state where a big portion of the agriculture is grown, but the west side of the state as well. There's a ton of agriculture on the west side, especially in the northwest side of the state. A ton of agriculture up there. well, I could go into a lot about the huge strawberries that I had the other day that came from northwestern part of the state.
Right.
They were absolutely delicious. But a big problem with agriculture is water, right? Water is life. And our Department of Ecology is out of control, controlling the water. There's some counties that they will not let people drill a well. That's absolutely ridiculous. Jay Inslee and his far left-leaning friends, they want to do away with the dams. That's absolutely ridiculous. Talk about clean energy, right? It's water running through a facility. How much more cleaner can you get? And it provides irrigation for our agriculture. It provides recreation for our citizens and clean energy. It's water for cities and towns and farms. So it's just, not only does he not know that grapefruit don't come from Washington State, he hasn't got a clue about what our agricultural needs are. And I do, and I will pay attention to that. And all citizens, east or west, it doesn't matter. Everyone will be protected by the rule of law, and the government will start untangling itself from their lives and from their businesses starting day one when I take office in January.
One of the things that I've been asked by reporters, voters, different people is what I attribute the success of this campaign to. And the number one answer is always our fantastic volunteers and our wonderful staff. Always. It's always the first thing. Without the folks, you don't have a campaign. You can't build any sort of organization. You can't build any sort of momentum. So number one is the people. But beyond that, Loren, I think, and this is what I've told folks, is that you're not a candidate with an agenda, right? You're not here with like a right-wing agenda or a left-wing agenda. Your agenda, the hill that you've planted your flag on, that you're going to defend till the death, is the Constitution. And the Constitution doesn't have an agenda. It just is what it is. And
well, yeah, so many politicians have special interest groups that they are in the sack with, basically.
Right.
They're working for them, the special interest groups and the lobbyists. And I do have an agenda. You're wrong a little bit there. I do have an agenda, and I do have a special interest group. And my agenda is to get this state back to where individual freedom and liberty is respected and expected. Kind of the way it was when I grew up in the 70s, where we didn't have a big bloated government lording over us. We weren't taxed to death. We were a lot more free. And I intend to get us back to where individual freedom and liberty, not only in our personal lives, but in our business lives as well, is going to reign supreme. And the beauty of the rule of law, which our country was founded on, right? Individual freedom and liberty and the rule of law, right? That's the foundational principles of our country and our state. The beauty of that is when the rule of law is followed, when our government follows the Constitution and it is enforced, everyone is treated equally. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your income level. It doesn't matter where you live in the state. Everyone is protected equally under the law when it is applied. And for far too long, we've had governors, and Jay Inslee is a prime example, that they go outside the bounds of the rule of law, and they start making arbitrary rules and make things up as they go along. I use the analogy of watching a football game. If the referees just started throwing the flag and blowing the whistle and changing the rules on every play, nobody would want to play, and nobody would want to watch a game like that. It'd be complete mayhem. And that's what's going on with Jay Inslee. He's not following the rule book, and he's acting outside of that rule book, and it adds confusion, it adds cost, and nobody wants to participate in his game anymore. So sticking to the rule of law, it protects everyone equally.
Well, to our voters out there, or to our viewers rather out there, we've seen a number of of messages go by here asking about the rumor mill that's going on. I just want to let everybody know we are going to be discussing that this evening, so sit tight. That is, we're going to discuss that near the end of our show tonight. But before we get into that, to set a little bit of context, the campaign is doing pretty well, wouldn't you say, Mr. Culp?
Absolutely. This campaign is on a rocket ship. We've got far more individual donors than any other candidate. And I'm not talking by hundreds, I'm talking by thousands. And the donation amount to this campaign is tremendous. And you have those numbers, you can go over those.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. So week one, so this is a June recap, ladies and gentlemen. The only 2 days of June that are not on this are going to be the 29th and the 30th, and those will be reported next Monday as we do our weekly C3 reports as required by the PDC. So week one, the Culp for Governor campaign took in $39,206. Week two, we took in $41,344.49. Week three, we took in about $58,024.76. Week four, last week, what we reported on Monday was $85,000, Loren, $85,810.80 for a grand total from June 1st through June 28th, $224,386.05. What do you think of those numbers?
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I know in previous reports we've talked about it, our average donation is very small.
Yeah.
Right?
60.
We don't have the big dollar donors, the big corporations that other candidates have. We have the numbers, we're beating everyone, but with small dollar donors. And every donation is a vote. So,
absolutely.
Keep it up, you guys. You guys are absolutely crushing it. And we are going to send common sense to Olympia and restore individual freedom and liberty. And it's because of all of you out there donating to this campaign.
So winning is so much fun, and I know I've mentioned this several times, but I'm a hyper competitive person. I hate losing. Losing is like the worst thing in the world for me. So let's give some context to these numbers. You do 85,000, big deal if your opponent does 500,000. So let's look at these numbers in here. So Mr. Freed last week, so we did 85,000, 810, 80. Mr. Freed, $57,031.25. We beat him 4 weeks in a row. Tim Eyman came in at $14,139.53. We beat him pretty bad. Phil Fortunato only raised $1,941. So let's give some context to this. So the totals June 1 through June 28th, Culp for Governor campaign raised $224,386.05. Joshua Freed's campaign raised $135,027.50. That is a full $89,358.55 behind us. So to put that into context, we could have done zero in week 4 and still beat him by $4,000.
Wow.
Tim Eyman, $75,615.77 for the month. We beat him by $148,770. Basically, we could have not showed up for 2 weeks and still beat him. Phil Fortunato raised $23,155 for the month of June. Basically, we could have given half a week in week 1 and still beat him. We beat him by $201,231. So everything's going in the right direction. I will.
And that's all due to our supporters and everybody coming out to the rallies. I'll tell you what, there's no greater feeling than to have hundreds of people. Like I said, I think up to 700 or 800 at a couple of our rallies this last week, and have people cheering and clapping and chanting your name. It was absolutely incredible. And I know it's not about me. I'm nobody special. It's about the message. It's about getting the state turned back around to freedom and liberty and getting citizens their lives back.
Yeah.
getting government off our back and out of our pocketbook.
Yeah.
And it's very humbling is what it is. And I appreciate everybody that comes out to the rallies. I appreciate everybody that donates online or at the rallies. We're seeing Culp signs everywhere I go. I've been traveling all over the state, and there are literally Culp signs everywhere. So thank you all the volunteers, all the supporters. It's just heartwarming. I don't know how to describe it, you guys. It's amazing.
But wait, there's more. Would you like more good news?
Okay.
This is so much fun. Winning is so much fun. There's nothing good about losing, and we have a winning culture around here. June 29th, June 30th, 68,988.33 in 2 days worth of work. That's all because of the folks. That's all because of the people. We absolutely crushed it. We're going to come in somewhere around 290,000-ish for the month of June. We're just killing it. And it is it's absolutely because of our volunteers, because of our people. We joke around with the team because after our rallies, we go have dinner and different things, and we do things together as a team. And, I joke around that there are roadies, because they go from event to event and to event, and something I don't think that Loren, I don't think a lot of people really realize is that there is no one on the team, with the exception of me, who's really ever done this before. Right. And
that's the amazing part, right? Including me.
Right, including you. Yeah, exactly.
And it is just so awesome. I mean, I'll show up at an event, the stage will be set up, the backdrop is set up, the microphone's set up, pop-up tents are set up, all the swag and everything's out, ready to go, ready for people to come. I'll show up there and that's all done. And then while I'm in the middle of doing a meet and greet after I speak, talking to people, taking pictures, our crew's breaking things down, loading it back up, and they're headed to the next event.
Yep.
And before I leave, and then they're set up at the next event when I get there. It's absolutely awesome.
And I want to brag on them just a little bit, Loren, if you'll give me that latitude.
Absolutely.
These are people that not only have never done this before, none of them really knew each other. They've never really worked together before. They have figured out in a very short amount of time how to work with one another. Everything that goes on, very little is ever actually done by me, right? And I'm pretty much just the guy that gets blamed for stuff that does go wrong. They actually do all the work. Like they do everything. Like I don't really do a whole lot, to be honest with you. It is all of them. And it is, I see them up at 2 a.m. I see them, up early at 5 a.m. I see them, trying to figure out how to get better video. I see them trying to figure out how we can get our bands to sound better, how we can make sure Loren Culp looks better and sounds better on stage, how we can put together these amazing events. And these people are really the unsung heroes, and they're wonderful people, every single one of them. And it has been my distinct pleasure and honor to work with all of them thus far. And I'm excited, Loren, to see what the future has in store for the Culp team. And I'm super excited about August 4th. I feel like we're in a good position.
And one thing that I've noticed, it's hard work what everybody does. Setting up, breaking down, loading the boxes back up, throwing everything in the trailer and heading down the road, and then setting up again. It's hard work. Every time I see them, every time I see all of our volunteers, they've got a smile on their face. They got a great attitude, and it's just awesome. It's like a well-oiled machine. And
absolutely,
I want all of you to know that I really, really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. We just had a comment here, Loren, and you're going to like this. Orleana Rooker, she said that Loren Culp needs a cowboy hat for those sunny days.
Right. Yeah, I know. I got a nice tan going now. Well, compared to you, I look a little bit red.
Yeah.
But no, I tan very, very quickly, very easily. I'll burn the first time, and then it just gets darker and darker tan.
Yeah.
So I've worn cowboy hats before, and Barb's like, You just don't look good in a cowboy hat. I think it might be the big melon that I have. I'm not sure.
I'm not going to argue with your wife. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
So, well, listen, let's jump into a more, we've had some fun today. Let's jump into a more serious subject. You know, there's some rumors and some things that are going on. We got, you did some interviews. I'd like for you to, I'm just going to kind of plop this in your lap, Loren, and let you kind of, I'm going to set it up for the folks and then just kind of give it to you and let you discuss this subject.
Right.
You know, we got, first of all, we've known about this, what we're going to discuss. I've personally known about this entire situation for almost a year. And I knew that our opponents and the different folks were trying to do something with it probably 6 months ago. But so this was not a surprise. And then when the Seattle Times contacted us and some other information came to us, we knew that there was not good things. You know, people were up to no good. So, you know, New York or the Seattle, what did I say? The New York Times, I meant the Seattle Times. Yeah, the Seattle Times contacted you and about an interview. So why don't you take it from there, explain to the folks what happened, explain to the folks the situation, and let's put all of these rumors and these innuendos, let's get the facts out there because we're not afraid of the facts. We're all about transparency at the Culp for Governor campaign. So let's put it all out there and let's let the folks know what is really going on.
Yeah, I've seen some of the comments. You know, if somebody out there doesn't know what I'm talking about, people are making comments that I protect pedophiles, that I'm abusive to 12-year-old girls. It's just ugly. You know, it's ugly.
It's terrible.
And it's happening. You know, we expected attacks to come from the Democrats, but these are coming from supposedly conservative Republicans. And, you know, it's just, I don't know. That's politics, I guess. But the lies that they're spreading, you know, are totally unfounded. That the case that's in question, it's still a lawsuit. The county that I live in, county officers, the city that I work in, and myself are being sued by some people, and it's an open case. You know, it's an open lawsuit. And I can't go into details, but what I can tell you is that this is not my case. I wasn't the case officer. It did not, it's alleged to have happened someplace that is not within my jurisdiction. Didn't happen where I work. It's not my case. I was asked by another officer who was on duty in his jurisdiction by himself if I would come with him as backup. And absolutely, that's what you do when you're in police work. You provide backup to anybody, anywhere that you can when you're asked. So not my case, not in my jurisdiction. I was a narcotics detective at the time, not the chief of police. But I said, yes, I'll come and be your backup. And the case, you know, anybody can sue anybody for anything, right? I could go into well, not tonight, but I could go into the courthouse tomorrow and file an affidavit and a lawsuit claiming that my opponents, you know, all of them were in my field. They killed one of my goats and had a satanic ritual in my field. And I saw it and witnessed it, and I'm suing all of them. I could do that. And it would be stamped as being supplied to the court, turned in to the court clerk. It would have the official stamp and date, time, and everything on it. But that doesn't make it true, right? That's what I'm suing them for. And anybody can make any. Now, they did not do that. I want to be perfectly clear.
Right.
You know, none of my opponents had a satanic ritual in my farm, in my field.
Right.
I want to be clear about that. But I could go in and claim that and file a lawsuit against them, and it would be in the court record, right? But just because someone sues someone doesn't mean that it's truth. doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean the person is guilty of what I'm claiming. I could claim anything. So that's my take on it. And because, like I said, it's a pending lawsuit, I'm not going to get into the details. I talked to the reporter from the Seattle Times, and I explained the same thing to him. This wasn't my case. I didn't investigate it. There were interviews done where I wasn't even there. Other people investigated this. I went to back up an officer one time in this case. And if anybody's wondering where anyone is that, where offenders go or what's happened to offenders that are from my jurisdiction, that there's been quite a few child abuse cases in the city limits of Republic when I was a police officer. And if anyone would like to go interview any of those offenders, you would probably need to look them up in the state penitentiary, because I take child abuse very seriously. So that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. It's obvious that my opponents and their supporters are scared because I'm winning. With the people's support and the people's help, we are winning. And that makes a lot of people mad. There's a lot of people that think that this was their turn, right? I'm not the party pick. I'm not the establishment guy, but we're winning. And there's a lot of people that are ticked off about that, and they're spreading rumors about me. So now you know my take on it and my position on it. You can make all the claims you want to, until you prove it. That's all it is your claim.
So apparently the Seattle Times didn't think it was that much of a story, because initially they were going to run it along with their profile of you. And when you talked to them a second time, they indicated that the information had been supplied to them, right?
Yes,
so someone brought,
exactly.
One of our opponents brought it to the media, brought it to the press and said, hey, listen, run this against this guy. But what did the Seattle Times reporter tell you the reason was that he wasn't going to run it along with the piece, the profile piece about you?
Well, I of course, I interviewed with the Seattle Times, talked about this.
Sure.
And I said, I told him, I said, I've been a police officer for 10 years, chief of police for 3.5. And I received the key to the city from the citizens of Republic for the good work that I do here. Do you really think they're going to award me the key to the city if I was a bad cop, if I was abusive, if I didn't investigate crimes effectively and put bad people in jail? Really? So, and I also let him know that I received the Police Chief of the Decade Award from a national organization for the work that I do in standing up for citizens' rights.
Right.
For people to claim that I'm going to come down on the side of child abusers, they have no clue. They have no clue. They don't care about the truth. That's obvious. They just care about winning. And there's a lot at stake with some people. There's billions of dollars at stake in this state. So I wasn't chosen by the establishment. I could give no cares about the establishment. I have one special interest group I'm working for, and that's the citizens of Washington State. I wasn't picked by anybody except the citizens. So,
and I want to be clear. So I know that you're under some restraints on what you can and can't say because you're involved in a lawsuit. However, I am not. So I'm going to follow up on some of this. So I want to be very clear to all the viewers. I know exactly who did this. I've known who was involved in it. And the reason that we haven't come after any of the people, I want to be very clear about this with the folks. The reason that we haven't come after any of the people who have attacked us, whether it was with that blackmail video or whether it was, with that, the PDC, the false PDC claim, we know exactly who wrote that. The candidate has a member of his staff who is a whistleblower that called me and told me exactly who did that. So I know exactly who did it, but I'm not interested in throwing mud on any of our opponents. And I'm going to tell everybody why. because I want to give you guys an insight into campaign life and into my mind and into the minds of our staff, and also Mr. Culp. At any given time in Washington State, there are between 7.5 and 7.9 million people. Okay, these are moms, dads, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, and there are hundreds of billions of dollars worth of GDP. These are farmers, these are agriculture businesses, these are manufacturers, these are timber companies, these are regular small business, these are hairdressers, these are everyday people. These are people that you know and love in your community. And everyone in this state and all of the finances that go on inside this state are at stake. Because if we get 4 more years of Jay Inslee, it's all going to go away. It's going to be very, very difficult, very, very bad for a very long time in this state. And that is what is at stake. And I want to be deadly serious with any of our opponents that are watching. You are not doing anything to help get rid of Jay Inslee by doing this sort of thing. We are not going to retaliate against you, but we do know who you are, and we know what's going on, and we've got your number. But we are focused on winning, because that's what winners do. Winners focus on winning and losers focus on the winners. So the Culp campaign under my leadership is never going to play any of these stupid games. We've not run any sort of hit pieces against any of our candidates. Any criticism of our candidates has been fair and has been just things that were out in the public. We've not dug up dirt. I've not sent any sort of private investigators, to go search out what people do in dark places. I've run oppo on all of our opponents, and I do have those dossiers that we can put out. But I'm not going to do that, because that doesn't do anything to help Mr. Culp. It doesn't do anything to help the Republican Party, and it doesn't do anything to get rid of Jay Inslee. We are focused on winning. That is what we are about. We do not tell people to steal yard signs. We do not tell people to do dirty business, because that's not how we do business at the Culp campaign. We have been successful here, Loren, because you have stayed on message. You have stayed on point, and you have represented the only special interest that matters, and that's we the people. And Mr. Culp, underneath with your leadership and underneath my leadership, we're going to continue to move in that direction. We're going to continue to represent the folks and to listen to their needs and to make sure that their voices get heard. And I want to make this very, very clear. We're not playing games. We're focused on August 4th. We are ready to go. We can't wait to continue to run a positive, uplifting campaign that has vision and direction and power. And we will be excited to see all of you there. Gold Bar on Friday. And then on Independence Day, Mr. Culp, we are out in Elma. We're doing a fireworks show. We're going to have live bands, multiple live bands. There's going to be a lot of food out there. It's going to be a fantastic time. We've got great events that are going on. We're focused on what we have to focus on. We're not focused on the games. And we are coming for Mr. Inslee, and he better prepare himself, because it's going to be full court press from August 5th on through November. So with that, my name is Christopher Gergen. It has been my pleasure to be with you tonight and represent Mr. Culp and the Culp campaign. So on behalf of all of us here, thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the road.
I'm Loren Culp.